All right, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about Terence Crawford, Bob Arum, and his potential next opponent, the world beater, Jose Zepeda. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back, welcome back. So it's Terence Crawford time to fight again. And as we know, it's time for another person that has no chance whatsoever to step up to the plate to fight Terence Crawford. Man, I cannot tell you how disappointing Terence Crawford's the last 5 years of being a Terence Crawford fan. It's been, honestly, I can't say that I've been a fan for the last 5 years. I pretty much cut out on Terence Crawford maybe about a year ago because I just have no faith and no hope that he is going to give us any major or any significant fights. So, obviously, he has been saying for a while that he was going to be naming his next opponent, right? Now, once Errol Spence Jr. was signed his fight for Manny Pacquiao, right then we knew, okay, who is Terence Crawford going to fight? And the answer is it's not going to be anybody of any significance, but yet and still, Terence Crawford is going to act like he's the #1 fighter in the world, even though he's fighting absolutely nobody, and he's not been fighting anybody for, from what I can see, for the last 5 years. And as a result, his fanfare, because there was a point in time, especially right around the Julius Ndungo fight, where he did very, very well. I think he did like over 2 million views on ESPN, and that was his first time on ESPN. So people were still excited about Terence Crawford right at the Julius Ndungo fight. And then when he moved up to 147 pounds, I was thinking to myself, okay, Jeff Horn, that's a good test to see what Terence Crawford can do at 147 pounds, because Jeff Horn was a bigger 147 pound, a large 147 pounder, and a guy that probably needed to be fighting in 154, 160. But that was, Jeff Horn has been the highlight of his 147 pound career. Just listen to the names, and this is nothing but, before I go through the names over the last 5 years, this is nothing but Bob Arum and Top Rank ruining this guy's career. From what I can see, they have absolutely no interest in really promoting black fighters or putting somebody like Terence Crawford in the forefront, because they're not willing to pay the money for the fights, and for the fights that would are necessary to make him be a big star again. And they've turned down fighter after fighter. But listen who he's fought over the last 5 years. Jeff Horn, for a world champion, a below average world champion. Jose Benavidez is the younger brother of David Benavidez, and Jose Benavidez, about a year or maybe 2 years before the fight with Terence Crawford, had a gunshot wound to his knee and literally got into the ring with a brace on his leg. Could hardly move for the fight. Went 12 rounds with Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford winds up knocking him out with an uppercut. But Jose Benavidez is nothing. It's just nothing to brag about. Then you have, after that, I do believe it was Amir Khan after that. Amir Khan has literally been knocked out by everybody in boxing. He's knocked out by Breeders' Prescott at 135 pounds. He was knocked out by Amir Khan at 140 pounds, and he was knocked out at 154 pounds, might even been 160 pounds, by Canelo Alvarez, right? So what was the big selling point of the Amir Khan fight with Terence Crawford? It was that he had never been knocked out at 147 pounds. Like, somehow magically he was gonna go from being somebody that, he was too small at 135, that's why he got knocked out at 135, and got knocked out at 140. And then he was too small. He's too small for 154 or 60, whatever it was. Canelo Alvarez knocked him out in, right? But 147 was going to be his sweet spot. What happened in the fight? Amir Khan basically takes a dive and gets out of there before he gets knocked out by Terence Crawford. Then you go to Igis Kalvinakis. Exactly, that's the question. Who is Igis Kalvinakis, right? And he gets dropped by Igis Kalvinakis in that fight. Then he moves on to fight Kell Brook. Kell Brook, who's somebody that is just, he was a shot fighter. At the time, and this is how bad it is for Terence Crawford. I was at the time saying, okay, I'll take the Kell Brook fight because despite the fact that he is clearly a shot fighter, it's better than any of the other alternatives. But then other alternatives that Bob Arum is willing to make and Bob Arum is willing to pay for will not fight. But when you turn around, and so when they did that, I was originally like, okay, that is on Top Rank, that's on Top Rank, that's on Top Rank. But at this point in time, I can't say that anymore because of the people that Terence Crawford has turned down. Terence Crawford has turned down Danny Garcia. He's turned down Keith Thurman. He tried to get a Manny Pacquiao fight. That was funny. He didn't wind up getting the Manny Pacquiao fight. But he turned down a bunch of other fighters that were competitive fights. He turned down Sean Porter, right? Just flat out refuses to fight Sean Porter. So if you refuse to fight Sean Porter, refuse to fight Keith Thurman, act like you don't want to fight Danny Garcia, and act like now you don't want to fight Errol Spence Jr. I don't know what else you can do but cancel Terence Crawford and any type of conversation about this guy being one of the top fighters in the sport. Now, clearly the guy has the skills. He has the skill set, right? And he's an excellent fighter from everything that you can see with your eyes. But it just seems like what they're doing is that they're really just trying to get their minimum pay for every fight, and they don't care who they don't care who they're gonna fight as long as it's not somebody that's a risk to lose to, and they're gonna go out their career, walk out of the door like that. And here's the thing. There's rumors, and this has got to be a rumor because I don't know how you can verify this, that this next fight is the last fight for Terence Crawford's deal with Top Rank. This is my thing. Even if it is the last fight on his deal, he's still going to resign. It's been the last fight before, and he still resigned. All they're going to do is give him a boost on his guaranteed money, and Terence Crawford is going to take that fight, and he's going to continue to fight whoever they put in front of him. And the people that Bob Arum and those guys are going to put in front of him are going to be low-level fighters that he can easily beat until he winds up getting in the ring with somebody like Josh Taylor. Now, I did say Josh Taylor and Jose Ramirez, but I think the guy that's going to beat Terence Crawford is going to be Josh Taylor out of the UK, because Bob Arum is talking about the next fight for him being over there in Scotland with Josh Taylor. That is being set up to lose. You're going to absolutely positively need a knockout to beat Josh Taylor in Scotland. So, and I don't think he's going to get the knockout over Josh Taylor. I think Josh Taylor, and here's the thing, Josh Taylor's actually been fighting better competition than Terence Crawford has, so he's probably more well prepared for that fight than Terence Crawford is. Because fighting washed up guys like Kell Brook, Amir Khan, Jose Benavidez, and dudes like Jeff Horn and Igis Kalvinakis, I don't think is going to really set you up well to fight Josh Taylor. I think Josh Taylor's a better fighter than all of them. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. I hate being so, negative about Terence Crawford, but what else can you do when his promotional company doesn't seem like they want to make a fight for him, and he doesn't seem like he wants to take any good fights? Anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think, and with that, I'm out. Peace.